The four mitzvot which we'll be learning about today, they correspond to what the Rambam in his book of Mishnah Torah discusses in a section which he labels as deot, traits. They work on bettering or refining a person's character. The first mitzvah is from the Exodus. The verse says, Kol almana v'yatom lo ta'anun, that any widow or orphan you should not afflict or mistreat, that when dealing with an orphan or widow, one has to be extra kind and sensitive. And the Rambam also brings the verse from the Exodus where God says that one that does not do so, I shall let my anger pour out, etc., etc. The second mitzvah is from Leviticus, actually the second, third, and fourth mitzvah, all from Leviticus. The first one is Lo telech rachil ba'amecha, one should not go and gossip amongst your people. The actual term which is used for a gossiper here is a rachil. A rachel is literally a peddler, someone that goes, it's like a salesperson, takes merchandise, wares from one place to another place. The reason for this is because the type of gossiper we're referring to is not necessarily someone that says something negative about someone else, but he speaks neutral, but just the fact that he's gossiping and yapping about people, so it will ultimately bring a damaging effect. The Rambam in Mishnah Torah brings the tragic story of Doeg the Edomite, who because of his words, what he said about Achimelech, that he said something which was true and in of itself it wasn't necessarily something bad, but he only shared part of the story, so that caused Achimelech and almost the whole city of Koranim, the city of Nov, to be wiped out. This story could be found in the first book of Shmuel, chapter 21. The Rambam also in this book of Mishnah Torah says that a subcategory of this prohibition would be to speak Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara is not speaking neutral, it's speaking slander bad about someone else. And the Rambam says how this is something which is really terrible, and our sages have said about it that there are three that do not have a portion in the world to come and are punished in this world. They are someone that worships idols or murders or has forbidden relations. And our sages say that Lashon Hara is equivalent to all three of them. Furthermore, our sages have said that Lashon Hara kills three: the one that says it, the one who it's said about, and the listener. The Rebbe explains that the reason why the one who it's said about also is harmed by it, although he seemingly didn't say anything wrong, is this goes to show the power of speech. What speech does, it exposes and brings to the surface what was previously hidden. So since Lashon Hara is the saying something which is true but negative about the person, so it could be that previously this was something which was more concealed in the person's character. Now that it's been spoken about, it's going to bring it more to the surface by this person, and therefore he will also ultimately be harmed by this speech as well. The third mitzvah is not to take revenge. For this Rambam brings the verse Lo tikom, and also the fourth prohibition is V'lo titor, not to bear a grudge. The Rambam brings the examples from the Sifra and the Sifri to illustrate this. I'll use an example of more modern times, that if Reuven comes up to Shimon and says, can I borrow your lawnmower? And then Shimon says no. And then the next day, Shimon comes up to Reuven and says to Reuven, can I borrow your drill? And Reuven says, no, I'm not going to lend you my drill the same way as you didn't lend me your lawnmower yesterday. That would be taking revenge. However, if Shimon responds and says, yeah, sure, I'll lend you, if Reuven responds, sure, I'll lend you my drill, not like you did to me yesterday, that would be bearing a grudge.